This is the podcast
of stuff.
Welcome to the podcast
Of stuff.
Okay, so this is podcast, I believe, number 9.
9.
Okay, and of course there's only one thing to talk about this week.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we'll do a different podcast about something else later.
Yeah, but number 9 is a follow-on from number 8.
Yes, it's Batman vs Superman spoiler review.
Yes, we are very poor at stopping spoilers, so
Yeah.
we just say what we say.
Yeah, so if you're, tuning into this and you're going to listen to it, if you haven't seen the film, to be fair, I'm not sure why you'd be tuning into it anyway if that's the case.
Yeah.
But it's just to warn people ahead of time so nobody complains.
And also, spoilers will be written in the title, but we will give you a 5-second gap right about now.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Spoilers.
Yes.
Let's go.
Okay, so the film, obviously, just get this out the way.
Yeah,
we both like it.
I loved it. I there is problems, but
Yeah, which the internet has made very clear.
The internet has made it bigger than it is. I don't look at the stuff as a critic because I'm a fan.
Yeah.
And
Go in with a positive mindset to the stuff that you want to see, and if you see it, and
yeah,
That kind of thing.
it ticked all my boxes.
Yeah.
There were bits there that you're like, oh, but then them bits just didn't stress me or bother me.
which we'll go through. We will talk about the stuff that people don't like.
Mm.
Some of it, I see the point. Others, I'm like, I think you're being a little pedantic, but okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big word like it.
Yeah, I don't know where they're all coming from. Okay, so when we basically start the film, just to give a little, we won't go through it minute by minute, it's not that type of thing. But
No.
just to, so everybody knows
But
that,
I'm going to throw this out now.
Go ahead.
We will do a commentary when it comes out.
yeah, we haven't done a commentary yet. When we get organised to do that,
When
do
we're
that.
better at this, we'll do that.
Yes, absolutely. When we can get the whole timing right, tell people where to stop.
Yeah, and
That kind of thing.
and all that.
Right, so, I mean, again, just before I go into it, even people that we enjoy watching, opinion-wise, on the internet, a lot of them don't like it. There's a lot of stuff. There's stuff that people do like, which we'll go into. Everybody seems to agree on, which we'll go into.
Yeah.
So, the way that the film starts, obviously, coming off Man of Steel, is that we know there was all that destruction in Metropolis, and the way it's set up at the start of the film, the people seem to be, and the government, are quite divided on Superman, whether he's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah.
Okay. We also see the scene where Bruce Wayne, Batman, I don't think that's a spoiler, he helicopters into Metropolis.
That drive in the Jeep, though. That is
very cool.
I know they've turned it into an advert.
It's a product placement, isn't it?
It's
Let's be honest.
massive product placement.
But
they turned it into an advert as well. Have you seen the adverts on YouTube and that?
no, I've seen the Turkish Airlines, obviously. But
Yeah, they got the advert on YouTube
Okay. So
for that car.
he's trying to get to his building in
Yeah.
Metropolis. He's got a colleague he's on the phone with, Jack, I think he was called. I don't know
Yeah,
who
yeah.
Jack is, but
sound
he's
like you said, Jack.
Yeah, and by the time he gets to the building, he's looking up at the building, he's trying to phone Jack, he's getting out of service, and you can see from the end of Man of Steel where all the lasers are cutting through the building.
That was Zod. That was
That was
Zod's
Zod.
I-beam, and they matched it perfectly well, because that was the first time Zod in Man of Steel experienced that bit.
Yeah.
And because he held his head after that. Oh,
Yeah. I'm surprised we didn't actually see Zod do it in this film too, because they've gone, I think one thing we can say early on is they've gone out of their way in this film.
To explain stuff.
Yeah, and also to show that Superman is not a killer.
No, and also they
Because Man of Steel got him a lot of heat for that.
yeah. But he only killed one person in that.
Well, yeah.
And it is.
And I thought he was justified myself when I was
I
watching
did
it.
not, and because Zod threatened his mother,
Yeah.
and if you know anything about Clark,
Yeah.
he loves his mama.
Yeah, we'll get there.
He loves his mama
but
as
he,
much as Mr. T loves.
And
his
also,
mama.
he looks quite tortured doing it in Man of Steel.
Yeah.
So anyway, we've talked.
And
about
that big scream right at the end,
Yes. Yeah.
And This, and I love they re-showed the Kryptonian ship going through the building.
That was cool.
That was cool. That
really
was
cool
Man of
scene.
Steel,
Slicing
cool.
through the buildings.
Yeah, it was in Man of Steel as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they reused it, but that was cool.
I think it's a different shot. It's very similar, but it might I'm not sure on that, but I think it's different.
They left the active Kryptonian ship in the middle of the city with just a white bag over it.
A tent.
A white tent over it.
It reminds me of when you're pulling up towards Butlins and you can see those. You can see those white, the white tent in the top.
Exactly.
Yeah. Also, one like the first sort of glimpse of Batman is there's a little girl who's under the wreckage. Yeah. Well, or standing there.
First glimpse with Bruce.
With Bruce, he's dressed as Bruce, but it's a very Batman-y moment where he sees the girl, he sees the concrete about to fall,
and he gets her.
He gets there at ridiculous speed and takes her out of the way.
I noticed that, and also then we look at now he was the only one running into the Cloud Down.
Yeah, that's Cloud. That was a really cool visual. Yeah. We've seen a little bit in the trailer, but the way he disappears,
and it was much better in the film.
Yeah,
you know. I got a feeling we're going to be like all positive about all this. Yeah. Which is great.
Well, isn't that a change from what you've seen?
Yeah. I got to admit, if you're a fan, and you should put that in the thing, positive review of BVS.
Why we loved it.
Why we loved it. Yeah.
So, but we see that's very cool. But then he asks he asks the little girl where her mother is,
and she just points up.
She's going to be okay. She points up. It's the building, which is clearly trashed. No chance. Yeah. And you just see a little look that Affleck does that I really like, which is like, yeah, we're not getting her out.
It was like, oh shit.
Goes back to hugging the girl because he knows.
And then you have that shot of him looking up. Then it snaps to then where you got that guy screaming. Yeah. The guy that plays a pivotal part later. Mm-hmm. For Superman now, not Batman. Yeah,
this guy's name was Wally. That was his nickname, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He's had his legs crushed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he was in the trailer. He's the one who... he was in the trailer by the Superman monument. But we're going to come up to that.
Yeah,
we don't want to rush
go to that. As I said, we won't go, all minute by minute, but we will mention the big points, obviously.
But I want to do this chronologically in the film.
Okay. So he gets pulled out of the wreckage by Bruce and a couple of other guys.
That was good though. That was a big ass beam, and Bruce just lifted it on his own, basically. Yeah. While the other guys pulled down. I'm just thinking, them squats really worked for him,
Yeah, well, we do see a training montage later.
We all need a montage.
Yeah, I thought I was watching Rocky IV for a second. But good montage. So, I mean, where we go to now, obviously, the next sort of the first hour of the film, as we were talking about earlier, is very much all set up now. They do throw a lot of information. I know a lot of people had a problem with the way that it jumps from it'll jump from Lois to Bruce, and we start obviously Lois.
Lois is in Nairobi Desert, and it was basically a trap for Superman.
It was,
and it turns out that trap was basically to make Batman more pissed off.
Yeah, absolutely, and there is one WTF moment which I wasn't aware of when I watched it any time, and I've only heard about it since. Is the photographer that's with Lois? Well, she's interviewing.
Meant to be Jimmy Olsen.
She's interviewing this warlord. It's meant to be Jimmy Olsen, and that's not really flagged. It's in the credits.
It's in the credits as Jimmy Olsen. Yeah.
Jimmy Olsen works for the CIA.
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
I mean, because he had the device in the camera, which is how they end up trying to take Lois prisoner, and they shoot him in front of her. Quite brutal, and that's what they would do. Pretty straightforward.
Basically, yeah. And in the credits, he's Jimmy Olsen. Jimmy Olsen didn't have a long career, did he?
No. They had Jenny. We assume was Jenny Olsen in the first one?
Yeah, well, the girl.
Yeah, we think that was Jenny.
And she had 3 lines in this one, didn't she? So
yeah, she looked quite sad at one point, I know. That was
that
was her acting moment.
Yeah, she had a moment. She got trapped in Man of Steel, so that was a good one.
So, one of my overall problems with it, I'll call it out now without going into too much detail, is that in the film, and you're more of a Superman fan than me, we've established that, Superman. But when he lands to save Lois, and she's being held at gunpoint, and he obviously flies at the guy, smashes him through the wall.
That was awesome.
That was cool.
That was pretty awesome.
That's just before he gives a little sort of sly grin. Did it seem a little bit bad guyish?
No. It was a
bit of arrogance about it.
It was like I can take him quicker than sense.
Yeah, it was kind of a Roman Reigns thing for me, where I'm a good guy, but I kind of look like a bad guy for a second.
Yeah. Well, I should be a bad guy.
Yeah. It's a small thing, and that's obviously how he
did like he stood there, and he did do a bit of a side corner smile, one side of his mouth, very Batman animated series.
He's obviously directed to do that.
Yeah, obviously, but because Lois just went, and it's she didn't think she moved. He just took him.
Yeah, you didn't see Lois.
No.
She actually puts her hands, she's holding the guy's arm around her throat.
Yeah.
She lets go of his arms after looking at, because she knows what he's going to do. She just drops her hands to say, okay, go ahead, take him out.
Yeah.
And he does that.
You have my permission to kill him.
It's still, for me, a cool Superman moment. It's just that little look before makes it look kind of look how easy this is.
I don't think Superman killed him, technically. I think more of broke his spine in there. The force of him coming at him would have broken the man.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, as I said earlier, I will struggle because it jumps around so much. If I go out of chronological order, feel free to pull me in. But
well, you've seen it actually more than me. I'm going again Saturday with nephews.
Yeah.
So
the next sort of little section, obviously, we meet Bruce. We find out that Bruce is still working.
Yeah.
With Batman because he's.
Oh, that was awesome though.
Yeah.
Because we don't actually we see bits, flashes, and then we see like the coppers coming in and everything. And I love that you're following the cop. The cop's clearly shitting himself.
Oh, when you see the Batarang in the wall in that house in Gotham where it's all sort of rotted away.
Yeah.
Typical Gotham slum house, you would assume that's what it looks like.
Yeah, and he branded him.
Yeah, he branded him, and that's another controversial thing, but I'm good with it.
But even Alfred pointed that out. He's like, we're doing that now.
Yeah. New tactics, something like that?
Yeah, new tactics now. And then Bruce said, we've always been criminals, Alfred.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just up in the game type thing.
He calls out as well, Alfred, doesn't he, that Bruce is very unlikely to... he said it with we mentioned from the trailer, he's even you're too old to die young now, that kind of thing. There's not going to be a next generation of Waynes. We hear him say that at one point.
He always says, I wish.
Yeah.
Type thing, but...
yeah. And just to get that out of the way, I like him. I think he serves his purpose
I thought
very
he was
well.
perfect. Jeremy Irons was perfect as Alfred. And he was playing the typical, ex-military type guy.
Yes.
And I like that. But no, go back to that scene where you see our first visual of Batman is...
Oh, you're going to say, but go ahead.
It's blurry a little, but he's just on top of like a radiator.
Yeah, the cops are looking for whatever's happening.
He's in the corner, and
just before that, they do go down to the basement, don't they?
Yeah.
And there's loads of people there. I assume
which is saved,
people trafficking.
Which Batman's technically saved.
And
he's got rid of traffickers.
The devil saved us, and they won't even come out. And the coppers try and get him out. Yeah, so you're setting Batman up as the devil straight away.
As awesome.
As scary, as menacing,
Which he should be.
Great, it's great.
That's what Batman is.
I love that. I knew they were talking about straight away.
Yeah, same here. When the devil saved us.
So the part you're talking about
is when we first actually kind of see him, because he's like blurry.
He's blurry in the background. There's a guy tied to a radiator who's been branded.
Yeah.
And just then they have a shot of the copper from the side, and you can see just this blur behind, and you're
it's grey and black, and you can
just kind of your eyes kind of adjust to it, and you go, "What's that?" And by the time you do that,
it's clear as day, and he moves.
Yes, he moves, and the way he moves,
quick.
You just see cape.
Yeah, but that they basically, I think I said this earlier. They basically looked at Arkham games and went, "How can we put that in that?"
I've got a lot to say on the Arkham game thing, because there's a scene later on which is just purely you could put it in the game and you wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah, he uses batarangs in that. He uses his bloody
his
grappling hook in that fight, and that was awesome. The best rock bottom I've seen.
Yes.
And also then he does a bulldog onto the bloody top of the crate.
These are the parts we love, and there was more parts which I'll mention later when we get to it. But
so many parts.
Yeah, there's some really cool.
But all right, we're still in the next first 20 minutes now.
Yeah. And
he gets away, and then he does that speech with Alfred, and Alfred does the old, because he's branded him, it's like things turning men cruel.
Yeah.
Good men cruel and all that. And in the trailer,
that's a theme throughout the film.
That's a theme in the film completely. But in the trailer, it's they make it look like it's how do I put it? It's Alfred says it.
Yeah.
But to Bruce, but not straight away.
That's right.
That seems like it's going to be later when he's actually fighting Superman.
Yes. And Alfred, as we find out going along, also doesn't approve of him going after Superman.
No. He's like, you know,
thinks it's suicide. He called that out, doesn't he?
He said it's a suicide mission.
Yeah.
You know, this guy should be our friend.
So what we basically discover is Batman is hunting something or someone called the White Portuguese.
The White Portuguese, which turns out to be, well, I don't want to say it now.
It's okay. I mean, we're spoiling, so we can mention it without going straight.
I was just thinking of chronologically.
Of course. That's why we're used to hanging on to spoilers. You see, we always hesitate.
Yeah. And I want to do chronologically. But yeah, we show the detective side. Not as much, because you see him detective looking for the White Portuguese, then he at the party where he meets Clark for the first time. And Clark, you know, really, for a reporter, he should have said, "Oh, Bruce Wayne's here."
Well, around that time, while this is happening with Batman, we also have then Superman as Clark Kent, working at the Planet.
Arguing with Perry.
I will apologise, by the way, for last week. I've done this a lot lately because I'm reading so many comics. The newspapers in films, I mixed them up without knowing. I may have even called it the Bugle last week.
I don't
because
remember.
I've been reading Spider-Man, but just in case.
Honestly, because I haven't been as active as I normally am.
No.
I normally listen to our finished product at work, and I haven't actually listened to it the last 2 weeks.
No.
So I haven't noticed you saying the Bugle, but if you do, and when I'm back at work, I will call you on that.
Yeah. No, but...
and I will slap you with an evening post.
But I guarantee I would have left it in. I don't take my mistakes out.
No.
So...
There's no need, because I make so many too.
No, but he's working at the Planet, at the Daily Planet. So... Perry is asking him to do a story on, you know...
Sports.
Underdog, Dreams Dashed, Gotham, 10 Yards from Glory. If I've got that right, by the way.
Roughly, yeah. I'm... Yeah.
So, but basically Clark is saying, you know, he's trying to alert him to the Bat of Gotham.
Yeah.
They don't actually call him Batman, do they, at any point?
No, they call him the Bat of Gotham.
Bat of Gotham. So
and
he's concerned because the attacks are becoming more brutal with the brand.
I think Perry does say, this is not about Clark Kent versus the Bat. Or the Batman.
He says that a little later, but he does say, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
He says, no one's interested in Clark Kent fighting the Batman.
Yeah.
And you're going, I think that's kind of why we're here, Perry. But okay, I'll get to Perry too. Yeah. I do have some issues with Perry, but we'll get.
I don't know if Perry.
I love Lawrence Fishburne.
Lawrence Fishburne, phenomenal actor, and I've always liked him.
Well, you won't get an argument from me there. I could name you 5 films right now I love him in, easy.
What's love got to do with this Tina Turner story?
Boys in the Hood.
Boys in the Hood.
The Matrix.
Matrix.
You know, he's made some
massive.
Deep Cover is one I'd recommend for you to give that a...
I've seen that.
Yeah, that's a great film.
CSI, he had a good stint in that. Yeah, he had a stint in that.
Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah. So they're there. Basically, there's no interest in it. So he sends Clark to the party.
Yeah.
To forget what he's investigating.
I don't actually know.
Lex is doing the library.
Yeah, he's doing
opening. Lex Luthor. This is where we meet Lex Luthor properly, isn't it?
Yeah, and Lex is very. I loved Lex in this actually.
Yeah.
That's
something that's divided opinion.
No, Jesse Eisenberg. He
was all in, wasn't he?
Control freak. Yeah. Massive control freak. I love that.
I like having a different Lex.
Some of that, different type, completely different type of Lex.
Yes.
Yeah,
and he's Lex's son.
Yeah, he's Alexander Luthor Jr.
He's still Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
But I've had a father. Am I wrong? That's not happened before. Maybe in the comics, but not on TV.
Comics,
not in movies.
In the books, it has.
Yeah.
It has not happened in film.
Yeah.
We've always had the Lex Luthor, but honestly, Superman has only had one bad guy in 5 films.
Zod?
No, 4 films, and real bad guy. I mean,
right.
Even Lex was involved in Zod in Superman 2.
He was. Yeah, you're right.
You know, he was pushing Zod along, like trying to push buttons for Zod.
Yeah.
In Superman 2. But you know, with this Superman, we get Zod straight away.
Yeah.
You know, with this re-envisioned Superman, this new Superman, and now we've got Lex, and Lex is a different type of bad guy. He's got the money, he's got everything, but also he's a massive control freak. He's like crazy.
Yeah, he's clearly to use a wonderful British saying, he's clearly not the full shilling.
No, he's not. He's, you know, he is not the full pack of beans. Like, he's not a full can.
Yeah.
You know.
Is he still? I'll just ask about it now. Is he still too Riddlery for you? Or
no, after watching the film, this film sorted that out for me. In the trailers, I was like, oh, he's very Riddlery, you know.
He looked it, didn't
with the old red capes are coming and all that, and I'm thinking, you know.
Yeah, they showed lots of little quirky moments from the thing, but nothing real
substance in the trailers. And then, like, yes, the second trailer gave some of the ending away, but it didn't give the ending away in the end.
No.
Which I loved. I loved the ending. I can see the logic of the ending.
Well, we will go to it.
And
yes, we will.
We will get to the ending, but
because that's something, again, well, everything is divided opinion in this, but that's one of the things. But okay, so they go to this party, this library fundraiser, whatever it is. You say they're not important really, but Lex is a benefactor, isn't he?
Yeah, Lex is a benefactor. Clark and Bruce have first initial interaction. You know, Lex does a woo, I wouldn't pick a fight with this man.
And outside, Clark asks, "Who's this guy?"
Yeah.
So he doesn't know Bruce is going in. Okay, he hasn't found that out yet.
He should have known.
He kind of should have. Superman should be able to know and do everything, but doesn't, which we have to accept at some point.
It just shows Superman is not ignorant, but he's more concerned in bigger worldly problems.
And it gives Batman a bit of credibility that Superman doesn't know who he is yet.
Exactly. Well, he knows who Batman is. He just doesn't know who Bruce is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. He doesn't know who is who. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
he knows. He knows.
Now, Lex's speech goes a little off the rails because something we haven't mentioned is Lex has found kryptonite.
Yeah, well, he did. His team found it in the Indian Ocean.
In the Indian Ocean, a small piece, and then they found a big piece.
Yeah.
Now this is from the World Engine. Just one quick question. They may not have an answer, may not be important. How is the World Engine produced kryptonite?
Do you know the only way I can think of that?
Yeah.
It's because they were terraforming the planet.
That's it. That was my
only thing I can think.
That was my thing.
The World Engine's a fairly new thing. Oh well, I've heard of terraforming, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, we should be starting to attempt that in Mars, because if we attempt that in Mars now, in real terms.
Do you want John Jones coming to kill us?
No, not really.
Martian Manhunter, for anyone who doesn't know. I watched Supergirl earlier, so he's fresh in my mind now as well.
They've done him really well and all.
Yeah. I'll do Supergirl. I've got the second half of the season to watch now.
I'm up to date on the first half of the season now, and I think they've done him very well.
I've just started the second half of the season now because I know that the Flash crossover's just coming up. So
yeah, it's the start of the new season, the second half of the season, isn't it?
So what's happened is they've gone to Holly Hunter, who was the senator, the senators, and they've said
very good.
They said we need an import license, so Lex is trying to legitimately get it in
for minerals
and say this is basically your insurance policy if Superman goes bad, because he knows people are doubting whether Superman.
Exactly, and there's a lot of people doubting. There's questions.
Yeah.
But there's not so many questions. It's a bit 50-50 there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people going, "Oh, aliens, it's our planet," and all that.
Yeah, because we do actually get. It'll be in a few minutes from this party scene. We do actually get a few clips of Superman saving people, which people complained they didn't see before, and now they're saying they're shoehorned in. Well, you can't have both ways. If you want to see Superman save people, let's have Superman save people.
Exactly.
That's how he comes out of the party. Just before he does, though, they're having that sort of open conversation about the morality of the Bat. You know, where they're clearly starting to disagree with each other.
Before we get to the party, though.
Yes.
Did you notice Bruce said to Alfred, "I need to use the suit." It's like he was asking his permission.
Yes.
To break in the Lex, because Bruce Wayne can't break in the Lex, and then Alfred says, "Yes,
you've got an invite to the party."
Invite.
Yeah.
But skip that. Go back to the party.
It's definitely worth bringing up. No, I do agree. Yeah.
Because why did he ask Alfred for permission?
Well, I think when you see him then looking at the suit in the Batcave, and then you see him looking up at the Robin suit with "haha, the joke's on you, Batman" written on it. We don't know which mythology they're going with, but we think Jason Todd's
I'm thinking
suit.
Jason Todd, but Jason,
because Jason Todd was murdered by the Joker.
Well,
I believe
he was dead and he wasn't dead. Depends on which series you're reading.
Yeah, DC have just relaunched and rebooted it.
Yeah.
So we'll I'm looking forward to that. So.
Yeah. I'm rereading Hush now, so
because there's so many of the old stories are confusing to people just coming in. And, I've read a different we've read some of the same books, but there's going to be some versions that we read different.
Exactly, because they're rebooting it. I do love the new suit that you're rebooting it with, though.
No, Bruce's plan in it is because he thinks he's got the inkling that he's linked to the white Portuguese Lex.
Yeah, Lex is.
So he puts a data collection device
in thing, claiming that need the toilet. I thought toilet.
Plays drunk.
Yeah, you know.
That last martini was too many.
Yeah.
He's so
very James Bond. Do you know why?
Bruce Wayne is very James Bond.
He was driving James Bond's car.
Yeah, he was. You're right.
The Aston Martin wasn't the Aston Martin they used in the films.
No.
It was the Aston Martin from the books.
Yeah.
And then he says martinis. Well, James Bond likes his martinis.
Yeah.
So they really threw a James Bond reference in there.
Well, and also
I think some people overlooked that, but I was just like, Bond.
Yeah.
The Bond reference there.
I can't remember. I think it's this. I can't remember if it's the first or the second. It's the first time that he goes down to do that. I think is it where Superman follows him?
It was the first time Superman don't collar him. Superman
no,
just
he follows him. Sorry.
Follows him so far to the kitchen where he sees.
Because he hears Alfred talking to Bruce in his earpiece, which is a nice touch. I like that.
I like that.
Really
like Superman, super hearing. Like,
of course, but
super hearing, super seaman. Evil.
Yeah. Apparently, he can hear radio communications to Batman, and anytime Lois thumps a wooden board. But
well, I thought that was concrete myself, but
yeah,
you know,
we'll get there.
We'll get there.
So that's what I don't have many problems with this film, but that'll be mentioned.
Yeah. So he starts following Bruce. And
here's a story on the TV about a disaster,
and then as he's walking past the kitchen, next thing you know, he stops, he looks, and you see the disaster in Mexico City during the death parade.
Juarez, Mexico, or about that.
Yeah, during the death parade.
Yeah,
which they do every year.
The Day of the Dead, isn't it? Yeah,
Day of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Where they paint their faces as a skull death mask.
Yeah, we saw that visual in the trailer, didn't we? Where they're all gathered around him trying to touch him like he's the Messiah. Always God references with Superman. We know that.
There always will be.
Yeah,
there always will be.
We're even going to have a
Go on, Superman's origin story is basically taken out of the Book of Moses.
Yeah, very much is, yeah. So yeah, I mean he.
With help, two Jewish men wrote Superman. So
yeah, he goes back up. I know Lex talks to both of them. Do we think at this point?
No, you don't go back up.
When Lex talks to him, so we haven't spoken about that. When Lex talks to Clark and Bruce when they're talking to each other, does he know at that point who they are? He does, doesn't he?
I got a feeling he does. Yeah, he doesn't say it, but I got a feeling he does.
Did you even notice even when he hits Superman on the Clark Kent on the chest,
bang.
You can hear boom, like he's hit something really
solid.
He's like, don't pick a fight with this man. I was like, that's he knows and given what we see later, where
and it is explained that he knows who Bruce is.
Yes. We don't know how. That's not actually specifically called out, but we're going with the assumption that he pretty much, we know from stuff that we'll talk about in a little while about other characters that he knows a lot of stuff that you wouldn't think he knows.
He has been. It looks like since the rise of the Kryptonians.
Yeah.
In Man of Steel, he has been searching.
Yeah, LexCorp basically he's got all the information on a lot of people. So, when Superman goes to collect. Not Superman. When Batman goes to collect the data collection device.
Well, we've got honourable mention. Yeah. I thought we were going to do the awesome classic Superman ripping off the shirt scene
open.
Because you saw him. He's standing. He's watching the fire, and you just see him. He's undoing his tie.
Yeah.
And next, he's gone. He's there. He's pulling the girl out. Fire in the background. He's looking awesome. He's like.
Yeah,
I'm great. Look at my hairline.
Yes,
it brings it down, and we got all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and and then Bruce goes back. 'Cause it's 7 minutes.
Right.
It takes for him to download. He goes there. It's not there. Then he bumps into Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
He follows her, and she's gone.
She's already while he's listening to Lex's speech.
Yeah.
She is already Gal Gadot. Her name is.
Yeah.
She's
Gal
already.
Gadot.
She is.
Phenomenally looking,
she's a gorgeous looking woman. But again, we'll talk about Wonder Woman. She turns to look at him and sort of lingering stares. If I know, there's something up with this guy.
So
maybe she knows who he is.
Well, I don't think she knows who Batman is at that time, but because I don't think she
spots something or doesn't she?
Yeah, she's not interested in the Batman.
No.
She's not interested in worldly things. It's like she's left the world behind after World War One.
She does call out later.
Yeah, which she does. And there was a photo she was after.
There was a photo, yeah. So it turns out she actually takes the data collection device because she's after a photo that belonged to her.
Mm-hmm.
She says belonged to her. Bruce is trying to catch up with her. She gets away. So he's left wondering, who's this? Because he has no idea who she is. That's pretty clear.
He has no idea, and also she just gives him a look and gets in the car, gone.
Yeah.
And he's thinking, I'm gonna have to use the suit.
Yeah.
You know, that's the look I got from him.
Yeah.
And then that was it.
Yeah.
Then then it skips Superman pulling the girl out of the fire, and then
yes.
This
is where it gets hazy for me. I've seen it 3 times. Okay.
Mexicans and everything, and then you got. Then
I struggle to remember the order we go in there because there's lots of stuff that happens very, very quickly.
Yeah, after that, then we get Lex with Holly Hunter. Well, Holly Hunter has a little scene. Then we get Lex in the room with Holly Hunter, and then he says that picture should be hung upside down.
Devils
come from the sky, and not the ground below.
Yeah, Holly Hunter refuses the import license. Basically.
Yeah, basically.
Now, part of the payment earlier on, we've skipped over because we're going to Batman Superman, and as I said, you have to mention this stuff together. The one of the scenes is where the other senator, I don't know his name, whether he's an assistant senator or what he is, but he basically asks Lex what he wants, for this.
He basically it's like giving him a free rein.
Give me Zod, basically.
It's like you're going to Dale Winton on Supermarket Suite and going, just give me a trolley, dude.
Yeah.
I want to fill it myself.
This gives Lex access to the Kryptonian ship that crashed and to Zod's body.
He just wanted Zod's body.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then he takes Zod's fingerprints.
Yes.
He literally uses a Kryptonian's
the skin of his fingerprints, isn't it?
Yeah, he uses kryptonite fashioned into like a scalpel and takes his fingerprints to get onto the Kryptonian ship, which I like because the Genesis chamber was destroyed. Superman destroyed it. Yeah. But that was all the water in there.
Yeah. Now, Holly Hunter at this point says, she clearly knows there's something up with this guy.
Yeah.
And I've got to mention the line because it becomes significant later, where she says, "You can take a bucket of and turn it into Granny's peach tea for all I care." In other words, I ain't helping you no matter what you do. Okay, it's just a throwaway line at that point, but it isn't a throwaway line.
Yeah, you know what she said.
Yeah. So with that, she's basically now Lex. He's drinking, isn't he? He gets all dark because he realises, okay, I have to do this the illegitimate way.
But after she said that, he started walking down towards her, going, "The red keeps are coming."
Yes.
The red keeps are
it's
coming.
One of his crazy lines from the trailer.
Which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
But I think in work, I just walked up to you randomly going, "The red keeps are coming."
Yeah.
Because I love that line. That line's an awesome line.
Yeah, we've walked up to each other a good few times and asked if the other one bleeds as well.
Yes, we have.
I'm pretty sure about that. So now we know that obviously Lex is going to have to go full on supervillain if he wants to get what he wants. So at this point I'm okay with it. Trying to think if we've left anything out. The only thing left out is Soup's getting it on in the bath with Lois. Can we not tease me with such camera shots where I think I'm about to see parts of Amy Adams that I would like to see?
I was like, I even questioned myself, like, it's 12A. Well, Americans would not like to see nip.
Yeah.
But us Brits, we want to see some nip.
Yeah.
Well, it was close away from seeing nip.
Yeah.
Inches.
Yeah, so they're living together by the look of it anyway.
Oh, yeah. And
Lois is trying to tell him, look, they're calling a meeting about you. He's like, I don't care, because I've got naked Lois in the bath.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's like, he put the food down and he got flowers, look quite exotic. Clearly he's probably gone somewhere for him. Yeah.
Well, as we're going, it's like sort of chronological. We're going back and forth a little bit, but it's confusing. It's hard to remember it.
Yeah, it is. But I'm just thinking, when I saw them flowers, I was like, oh, he's done a Dean Cain there. Yeah. Because when Dean,
it's a good shout.
Do you remember in one of the first episodes where he's like
The New Adventures of Lois and Clark?
Yeah, where he offered Lois some Chinese food and he said he knows a place. And next thing you know, he flies to China, gets some Chinese food and flies back. Yeah. Because he said it's authentic.
Well, sorry to interrupt. I was going to say, before we move on with it, we did leave out one part.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the film with Bruce. We do get Bruce's origin again.
Oh, yeah, and we get to see your favourite girl.
Lauren Cohan.
Yes.
Maggie from The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
So they just have a little scene at the beginning when it starts. Bruce talking about the beautiful lie, that kind of thing. The bat's lifting him up. You see his parents murdered again. You see the pearls again. Good. I know you haven't seen it 3D yet. That's a good use of the 3D.
Is it?
When he has the gun under the pearls and he pulls it back and it shoots. It's a good use of 3D. The first half of the film, which is the part that probably doesn't need the 3D as much.
I thought it was a dream when we started seeing him rise with the bats.
Yeah.
So I was looking at myself, and I was thinking, that's not plausible.
How old do you think they're saying Bruce was when his parents were killed?
12.
Because that was 1981. That murder. Did you pick that up?
It's about right. Yeah.
Yeah, because they show it on.
He's played a 44-year-old Batman.
Yeah, they show it on their grave.
He's about 10.
Yeah, so that would make him in his 40s now.
44.
Which is about right, yeah.
Yeah, because they're playing in 2015, so it'll be 44. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no sort of love interest for Bruce at this point or anything.
No,
like that.
Alfred blatantly points that out later on.
Yeah, and as we've just been talking about now, to get back to present, so
yeah.
Clark obviously, Superman still has Lois. He still has his mum.
Mm-hmm.
We know.
Clearly, these condoms have got to be made out of kryptonite or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
I'm not fixated on the sexual themes as we've noticed in the podcast. I just want to know how they do it.
No, I mean, there's some beautiful women in this film.
And I wouldn't mind seeing Amy Adams talk this as well, but
I think the world is with you there. But she, I mean, so while we honour her, that's just to mention her.
She's the key.
We've got some notes in it. She's not particularly popular from what I've heard. People have been making out she's annoying, that her plot's unnecessary, that kind of thing, and that she's basically a hindrance to Superman.
Well, yeah, of course, she is a hindrance to Superman.
So is anybody you know?
That was a plot point.
Yeah.
That was a plot point. She's a hindrance because that's the woman he loves. That's the woman he loves just as much as Superman loves his mama.
Yeah.
Just like Mr. T.
Yeah. I mean, also, she's an independent woman. She's going to be investigating stuff.
Exactly.
She's going to be. You're not going to stop her doing that.
And she went all the way to DC then to investigate about it, just to clear Clark's name.
Yeah.
Superman's name in thing. And it turned out a massive cover-up in the end. You know. And they knew it was a cover-up, and it's classified.
I think the big question everyone asks, I'll ask it now, is do we need that part of the story? Because I think one of the issues that people have a problem with in this is motivations. Is it happening for this reason?
Do you know why they need that? Do you know why they need that part of the story in the film? Because the last film he killed Zod, and everyone was banging on Superman doesn't kill.
Yes.
And then they added a sequence where Lex technically set up that he did set up this.
Yeah.
To make it look Superman kills.
Yeah.
But Superman didn't kill. Because they were done by government, prototype rounds.
Yeah.
So Lois proved that he didn't kill. So we do need that, because then it's just showing, because, alright, the events of Zod and that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
In film terms.
Yes.
So, you know, we've got to show that Superman doesn't kill. He killed Zod for a valid reason.
Yeah, because he was about to murder a family.
Murder a family right in front of him, even though he's already killed thousands.
Yeah.
But thousands Superman saw.
Yeah.
He didn't see the thousands, he saw this one.
Yeah.
You know, and he killed that for a valid reason. And then they're trying to make it look like Superman killed them people. Mm-hmm. Superman didn't.
No.
Superman turned up straight into the building, bang, took the guy off.
Yeah.
Probably shattered the guy's body.
Very human reaction to go for Zod as well when he's messing with his mother. Anybody can relate to that.
In the sense that this is why Superman later on in the film goes a bit batshit crazy in a way.
Yes.
Because
Ironic.
you're messing with his mama.
You mess with his mama, yeah.
You know, no one messes with your mama.
No, I was waiting for Mr. T to turn up. But
it's a reference already. Yeah.
Yeah, so
that
it's just about there is a lot of story, and that's why we are going back and forth, because there's a lot of story that you have to rewind on and go, well, this is happening now. It happened because of this. Happened because of this.
Yeah.
Okay, so we also got a scene, don't we, where Wonder Woman, we don't know which is Wonder Woman yet. Of course, we know, but we don't.
Yeah. Wonder Woman and Bruce, they interact again, talking about the sword.
That sword.
And then Bruce says, that's not the original. The original's currently hanging over the Sultan's bed.
She knows.
She already knows this. And that sword looks very much like the swords from 300.
Well, it is Zack Snyder, so... Yeah.
It looked like a reference to him for 300.
Yeah.
To me. Which was good, because I love 300 anyway. Yeah. You know.
She tells him, you know, I didn't steal the information from you. It's in the glove. It's in your glove compartment.
Yeah. And everyone was saying that bit was wooden. Well, not that bit. They saying her whole acting was wooden. I don't see it. That bit I could see was a little more, you know, not as fluent as she's.
Well, her best moment is to come later in the film.
Oh yeah, but I thought her acting, like the vocal point of it,
She was fine for me.
Great. It was great. I really enjoyed it.
Given that people were concerned about it,
she blew us all away. It blew me away.
I can't pretend I've seen her in things, that I notably have seen her in anything.
I've seen her in Fast and Furious, and that was it. And I only watched that because my nephew wanted to watch it one day, and my sister bought the collection on DVD.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't go out of my way to watch Fast and Furious films.
No, I don't have a lot of interest.
No, I like cars, but I like real cars. I don't want to see people put lights under their cars.
Yeah.
And shit like that.
And this is all basically building. Okay, we wrap the first part of it up in a bow. Really, it's building to the fact that
there's going to be a big throwdown later on.
There's going to be a throwdown, and also that, we see also that Wally, the guy who had his legs trashed, he's now lost the bottoms of his legs.
Yes, and
he's in a wheelchair. He's climbed up the monument and sprayed false god on
the Superman's monument, which we saw the false god in the trailer, and then we saw also in the second trailer a guy in a wheelchair looking up at the monument.
Yeah.
So, and it all builds out and it all makes sense.
Yeah.
And I can see what they've done. And we're not jumping ahead at this point, but we are, in a sense that I'll fill it in then.
You kind of have to give an explanation.
Yeah, we have to really. Because Holly Hunt has found out about technically Superman killing all these people. And then Lex has probably got people to say that Superman did do these people in court. Yeah. So they're asking Superman to come and say a few words.
Yeah.
So he comes.
Yeah.
So, and
walks in full Superman.
Full Superman, does Superman's superhero landing and everything. Yeah. Weren't hard on the knees at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he goes in, he does chat, and I like the fact that Lex's bodyguard was there, but there's no Lex.
Yeah.
And she does Holly Hunter. You see her doing all the talk and everything, and then next thing you know, she looks, and there's a jar of
Granny's peach tea.
Granny's peach tea. That scene there, she looks, and then she looks at Lex's seat. Lex's seat is empty. Do
you think that was a bit of a lingering thing?
No, because they did cut out to Bruce, because Bruce saw this guy. All right, there were other scenes where Lex was talking to this guy and gave him a new chair and everything. Yeah. Obviously, the new chair was filled with explosives. The guy probably didn't know. Yeah. So Lex there, batshit crazy. Yeah. Excuse the pun.
Yeah.
So we got that. Then that's that was intermixed in between, up to these bits.
Lex doesn't sit in his seat at the
court. Either. No, because we all know what's going to happen there. At this point, Lex has already got control of Zod's body and got control of the Kryptonian ship. Yeah. So we got to look at these bits here now. I'm rushing this bit.
No, you're right, because just one thing, when he first walks into the ship, Lex as well, there's a big thing about that slow mo where he's got as the Americans would call sneakers. He's got those on, and he's walking in the suit, and some people didn't like it. I thought
it was fine.
They keep him with what he was.
To be honest, at my wedding, I'm wearing trainers.
Yeah. So
okay, what the missus says, I'm a Converse man. I'm gonna wear Converse. But nevertheless, we're building up to the point. So we had that, and then we had Bruce watching it on TV before the explosion. Yeah. And he sees the guy, and he's like, I recognise him straight away. That's Wally. Yeah. Aren't we paying them every month? So to get all the things, he opens it up. In the trailers, we thought that was the Joker. Yeah. But there was a different thing said each time. And Bruce is looking at it, and he's like, blows up, and then the last one comes, and he opens it, and you did this to your family and all that. Yeah. And Bruce, that's what makes Bruce angrier. Yeah. He's more aggressive now. This point, he's like, Superman's done this. No one else. Superman's done this. He's gone blind. The cloud is over. He's seen red. He wants to do it. Yes. It's all built into the hatred of Superman and how much of a threat he is. Yeah. So there's Bruce now. He's there. You saw him in that thing. When the thing blew up, he clenched his teeth and was like, that's it. Yeah. Red. He's going down. Yeah. People didn't. And then you go back to the courtroom, and you stand there. The guy's wheelchair blows up, takes everyone out. Yes. Obviously, Holly Hunter has realised something's up because she's looked at Lex's chair, looked at Grandma's peach tea, and then thought, oh shit. Then you see the bodyguard look around. Yeah. And next you know, boom, they're all gone. We have a clip then of the burning building. Superman standing there. Looks like he's just about to cry, or there's a tear there.
Yeah.
Like, because he was blind, he couldn't see it.
Yeah.
And then we snap straight to Bruce. Then he reads the last thing.
Yeah.
And it's like type thing.
Yeah.
See red. Then we skip to Lois trying to get hold of Clark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she goes onto a balcony, talks to Clark. Clark's like, I can't do this anymore. Superman's a dream of an old farmer in Kansas.
Yeah.
You know.
Basically saying,
yeah.
It's he all the way through. He seems to have an air of he doesn't understand what everyone's problem is with him.
Yeah, and also he's doing everything they want him to do, but he's still wrong.
Yeah.
And he doesn't understand it yet.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing that's basically this film in a nutshell of what everyone else says.
Yeah.
They've done everything we want them to do.
Mm-hmm. Because they've rammed it all in. That's the main criticism, it seems.
Yeah, but we all knew this was going to be a massive film.
Yeah.
And we knew there was going to be so much in this.
And of course, I again, and because of that, we might be jumping around a little, but we also see a scene where Batman then has,
we get the
decrypted.
montage.
Yeah, he's decrypted that file.
Yeah.
And he sees the photo of
Wonder
Woman
Woman
from
100 years ago with
1918, and Chris Pine is stood next to her.
Next to her with floppy bloody fringe.
In Belgium, I believe it was.
Yeah, World War One. 1914.
So he automatically recognises her,
Mm-hmm.
ends up emailing her the photo. This doesn't belong to you, it is you. So he knows. He sent that from Bruce Wayne's email, yeah?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he
So
didn't
if there's ever any doubt that she knew who it was, now there's no...
Yeah, he didn't go through the file.
No.
And then we'll leave it there. One woman goes through that on the plane.
Yeah.
That's jumping ahead a little now.
Yeah.
Because after all this, then we get Bruce doing this, doing all pissed off, and then we get a little bit of a training montage.
We do. We also saw there was a dream sequence, yeah? Well, the dream sequence, the first part is going to his parents' grave. You think, okay, it's just another one of these sorts of scenes, which we get with Batman, you know? He's talking
Grim, you know.
Grim. And there's a part where the monument starts bleeding, and he touches the blood, and then you see this horrific bat-looking thing. There was a character that used to look like this, but I can't remember who it was.
What, you mean Batman? As in, no, Man-Bat.
Man-Bat, thank you.
Man-Bat.
Yeah, so he I mean, it's quite reminiscent of that. It's a scary moment. If you've got kids there, they're jumping out of their skin at that point.
I looked at those, red eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I looked at it, I was like, ooh.
Cuts to what seems like he's waking up from that dream, and also then we see a vision in front of him, which is, we'll mention it again in a minute, but it's a vision in front of him, lots of sparkles, lots of electricity, and a voice coming through, and it's the Flash.
And then he comes in, and he's got this helmet on. I don't recognise the helmet at all.
No.
It's like blue with a like pink type visor, reddy type visor, and he's like, Bruce, Lois Leesky, am I too early?
Yeah.
I'm too early. Oh,
yeah.
You know, I'm too early type thing. Then he goes.
He's basically the story of the Flash. He's so fast he can travel
through time and dimension. Yeah. He is the key between all the different Earth.
Yeah.
Earth 1, 2, 3, 4.
He also says save Lois, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But he says you were right about him, so he's talking about Superman.
Yeah, you're right about him. Save Lois.
Yeah.
You know, which is weird.
It is weird because he's, you know, it's you can see it building up to the thing of.
He was saying Lois is the key to Superman.
Yeah, and that you were right about him suggests you should kill Superman. Yeah, because we know at this point as well that the White Portuguese has turned out to be a ship what Bruce was investigating.
Yeah,
that ship is carrying kryptonite.
Yeah, and what a chase scene with that Batmobile.
It was cool. The only question, he fires a tracking device onto it, doesn't he? Yeah. Does he get disturbed or spotted? Because then he goes to war. I'm not sure about that.
No.
Maybe I missed it, but I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I think they rushed little bits of that.
Yeah, because that's kind of the detective part you're looking for with Batman.
But he gets kryptonite,
he does,
and you see him doing all the things to make it and like manipulate it to the way he wanted it.
He breaks into LexCorp and steals kryptonite.
Yeah, basically, and you see all the bullet rounds and everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, basically he used the suit.
Yeah, we're getting us up to the fun, really fun parts now. Aren't we? Yeah, so
we're getting closer. It's only taken us 15 minutes.
Yeah, we've had Lex then messing about in the ship.
Yep.
He's trying to make something.
Well, yeah, Lex has used Zod's key, which was still in the console.
Yeah.
He pulled it out, looked at it, and then put it in. Then he pushed it back in. He obviously used Zod's fingerprints to get into the Kryptonian ship.
Yes.
Then he walks into the water. He gets a little bit of history, very reminiscent of the Richard Donner Superman.
Yes.
And also reminiscent of Superman Returns, where Lex Luthor at this time was Kevin Spacey, gets the history of Superman.
Yeah.
And gets all the thing. So he gets the history, and they also mention it was an old Kryptonian abomination they will never do again.
And then, as decreed by the High Council, and he says what's happened to the High Council,
and the machine says they're all dead. And proceed.
Yeah.
And then they proceed, and
yeah, we know we're going to talk about what comes out of that.
And what comes out of that is, it turns out in my head, he's not the buff version of a Cave Troll anymore.
Yeah, we will definitely.
So
he,
we got all that.
I mentioned the email that Bruce sent to Gal Gadot to Wonder Woman. So we've seen the picture of her.
Diana Prince.
That's her name. Thank you. We've seen her. Obviously, we've seen a picture of her. There's some other things there. Okay.
Yes.
They've already got symbols.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, we're going to skip ahead a little here because during this time, Lex has got Martha Kent.
Yeah.
And he's also got Lois.
Yeah.
And he pushes Lois off the side of the building. Superman saves Lois.
Yes.
Puts her somewhere safe. He goes up to Lex, quite pissed off. In the trailer, makes it look like Superman's doing Lex bidding.
Yes.
It turns out in the film, he is, but because of his mama.
Yeah. So they kidnap.
Martha, and they're gonna kill her in an hour. And in the end, he only had 35 to 40 minutes to kill Superman and bring his head.
Yes.
Kill Batman and bring his head. Yeah. At this time, we've seen Batman preparing, throwing down.
Like you said, the training montage.
Yeah, the training montage.
Throwing tyres around and
then he get the spear in a certain spot.
Yeah, do some CrossFit, pushing the TRX.
Yeah. And then he puts his kryptonite spear here, there. He preps all it. See, pull the cover off.
He said to Alfred, if there's even a 1% chance that we've seen in the trailer, we have to take it as a certainty. So he's decided now he's going to kill.
Yeah, we haven't really spoken about the nightmare sequence.
No.
Which I want to do now because that is huge.
Yeah.
We've got parademons in that. We've got
the desert scene. I completely left that out. Yeah.
No, we can't leave that out.
No.
That is huge.
Huge.
That's huge, and that is probably of a world where them two are at war.
Yeah, because to begin with, it looks like
because
a normal scene, because the way the film is going, now they're in the desert, it goes back and forth. So you're thinking that it's reality to begin with. I did anyway.
But then he wakes up, and that's when we have the flash bit.
Yeah.
The flash bit, and then he wakes up.
And in the desert, in the desert when he's fighting, the Superman soldiers basically, they've got Superman back.
Well, yeah, basically they turned out to be Superman soldiers.
Yeah.
And then you had parademons working with Superman soldiers. Parademons, if you don't know what parademons are, they are the slaves of Darkseid.
I've been told this. I didn't.
They are the slaves of Darkseid. No, the Darkseid's army. You know.
It's only when I saw them that I realised, okay, this isn't actually real, because you knew that they weren't just suddenly there. There would be some kind of lead-in for them.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I think
in that scene, he's shooting people. He's killing.
Yeah. Oh, he's got a handgun there. He's shooting. He's breaking necks. He's using one bodyguard as a fucking shield while shooting others.
Yeah.
He's doing all that because all bets are off at this point.
Yeah.
In that dream sequence,
yeah.
You got the parademons coming out, grabbing people.
Yeah.
Superman had his own little army.
He did.
And Batman had his own little army.
Yeah.
Batman's little army was taken out by one of the generals inside of his army. So, and then it turns up that, Superman's then tied up because he's caught.
Batman tied up, yeah.
Batman tied up because he's caught, and it's a bit too much now. Well, he took out a lot of people during that. That was cool.
Yeah.
That he seemed a bit slow though, so just to throw it all in. And then he's taken up. Superman comes in. He's real pissed. Takes the mask off, eyes red, and all that.
Yeah.
And then he wakes up. Kind of wakes up, and then the Flash turns up, does think Lois is the key and all that.
Yeah, in that scene where he's hanging,
Yeah.
that Superman like lands in underground, doesn't he? He's walking towards him looking all sort of sinister. He lasers through two guys hanging either side of Bruce.
Either side. That was cool as fuck. He just...
We didn't see who they were.
No, you didn't see who they are.
You wouldn't if it was Bruce's dream. They would just be people hanging there, wouldn't they?
Yeah. They say in dreams, though, every face in a dream is someone you've met in your life that you don't remember.
Yeah, subconscious,
Yeah.
So, and he unmasks Bruce, and then, so it's all part of the paranoia building towards Superman, isn't it, from Batman?
Well, it's Batman, but also that's seen in the future, really, in a way, because you see a clip there where you see Darkseid's symbol in the sand, in the desert. So, paradigm was there, it means Darkseid's already there.
Yeah.
And then we have all the wake up and everything, and then we're back into reality.
Yeah.
And, well, Zack Snyder's reality. And that's it then, we're getting ready for the fight.
Yeah, so the way that it lines up, like you mentioned about Lex obviously captures Lois.
Captures Lois and captures Martha.
He captures Martha separately, obviously. Lois he has on the top of a really, really tall building, which we need. And he pushes her off. Clark obviously catches her midway, just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So we're pretty much assuming that her voice is like a pager for Bruce now, for Clark now.
Yeah.
Every time he hears her voice,
he's straight there.
He's there. He was there. He turned up in the desert, for goodness sake.
Oh, God, yeah.
Right, so he can hear her all the time.
But she's a reporter, and he's her colleague, so he knows where she's going.
So he catches her, he puts her on the ground, he goes up to sort Lex out. This is where Lex breaks it to him.
I've got Martha.
So this is where he knows now. He actually names Superman.
Yeah.
You know,
Martha Kent, and they show how they got Martha, and all she finishes work, and
they abduct her. Yeah.
They abduct her and everything, and basically they are manipulating him to do Lex's bidding.
Yeah, Superman falls to his knees. He's throwing Polaroids at him.
He drops to his knees. Yeah. His eyes go bright red.
Photos of Martha gagged, basically.
Yeah, and he is pissed.
Yeah.
You don't mess with his mama.
Yeah.
That's the theme of this podcast.
So so then he basically tells him, you have, as he's leaving, he says, you had an hour.
Yeah.
When you got here, he tells him he has to kill Batman.
Mm.
Batman's obviously, at this point, wanting to kill Superman.
Yeah.
He's in Gotham, gets his massive, cool iron suit, very Dark Knight Returns, and sets the bat signal off as like a marker, as in come and get me.
Come and get me.
Powers it, I think, does he power it with the spear? Because it looks as if he slams it into the ground next to it. I don't know if it has anything to do with power. No. Quite a cool visual though. He does that, and the bat signal lights.
Yeah, he turned it on basically.
Yeah. But he does that, and he's waiting for him now.
And Superman turns up, and
tries to talk to him. Calls him Bruce too.
Yeah, He's goes, Bruce, I need your help.
So he's figured it out already.
Yeah, and well,
it's not actually said though, is it?
No, it's not.
No.
But you've got Bruce going, well, I'm here.
Yeah.
And then Bruce, I need your help. Next thing, boom.
Hitting him with booby traps.
Booby traps all the way there and tackling him. And
the first thing was some kind of sound thing, like a sonic type thing, where it looks as if it's...
Yeah, it was sonic sound, so he's like... And then next explosions either side of him.
He gets the drain cover, breaks it in half, smashes either side, carries on trying to talk to him, then all of a sudden there's machine gun fire out of everywhere.
Yeah.
Hovers up, takes him
stands up, takes him out of his eyes, then he goes in and just takes him up, Batman onto the roof. Yeah. And get the breathing.
And now people have, I want to address this quickly, people criticise the fact that then, after those two things, Superman just goes, oh, I forgot what I was going to say, let's fight. I don't think it's that. I think he's been annoyed, he's just been hurt, because although he can take all that pain, when he takes all those bullets, it's not comfortable, obviously.
What I got out of that bit was, he's still trying to talk to him, even though he got him on the roof, but Batman didn't give him a chance. He just pulled the cord on his smoke.
And it could be another 10 booby traps before he gets to him.
Yeah.
So he has to go, okay, right, get here, I'm going to knock you down here, and then I'm going to talk to you.
Yeah, that's why he took him up to the roof.
That's how I took it, anyway.
Yeah, that's how I took it. He took him up to the roof, try and get him away from the booby traps.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and talk.
He's running out of time, too, we've got to remember that.
Exactly. So Batman, don't give him a chance.
No.
It's Batman, fuck's sake. Badass.
Yeah.
Smoke bomb down, Superman goes, speeds through it,
expecting to see the other side.
Yeah, Batman's not there. You see him look, and he just goes, turns around, and he catches it, kryptonite in his face,
which
I called.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
In several podcasts before and leading up, I've called that several times.
Yeah.
But I called that. Shoots a condensed smoke of kryptonite in his face.
Yeah.
And he's never experienced that.
Yeah.
The only time he experienced that is when he went on a Kryptonian ship with a Kryptonian atmosphere.
Yeah.
Atmosphere, which he's so used to Earth atmosphere, it's totally different to him.
Yeah.
It basically brings him down. And I love this fight then.
The fight then for me,
Yeah.
I personally think this fight delivered on what everyone wanted it to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Me personally.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Yeah, same here. Superman, I'm going for a Superman perspective here now. In the sense that he just sunk in my face, and I feel like, obviously the guy naturally felt great, couldn't get ill, you know, nothing could hurt him, and all that. He's
disoriented. He's not used to being in that.
He's not. He's in a situation where he's not in. And what's the first reaction? Is the fight or flight. You know, and that's a good pun because Superman can fly.
Yeah.
And he can kind of fight, not to the Bruce Wayne level if they're on equal playing terms.
This is one thing that becomes apparent very quickly. When Superman is weakened, Batman
is straight away.
Can outfight him.
Yeah, of course he can.
Yeah. Which is how it should be.
It should be.
If he's beating up Batman without powers, then why do we need Batman anyway?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, Superman throws a punch. And he's like, I bet Ben Affleck, while he was filming this and he had to do sidekick, I bet in his head he went, sidekick! Boom!
Oh, well, I said it.
I said it too.
Yeah.
I just went, sidekick!
Yeah, when he hits that kick, it's like, he's obviously not the quickest because he's wearing that massive suit. But when it hits him, you do then start to see Batman is basically owning Superman for the first part of this fight.
Well, we saw that in Dark Knight Returns in the book.
Which, of course, is why I loved it.
And we saw that in the bit in Hush.
Yeah. I totally was reverted to a child watching that fight to begin with. And what you notice then is the kryptonite starts to wear off.
Oh, that where they showed it wearing off, where Batman's got him on against the wall and he's like,
he hits him first and it counts. The second one you hear like a chink as if he's hitting metal.
It's like it's not counting, and then the third one it's not counting. The fourth one it's like
he's just looking at him. And what I liked here, which I've not heard anybody mention, is Batman goes back and even with that suit on, where his face is mostly obscured, there's almost a look of fear where he's holding his hand and going, what do I do? You don't see it from Batman often, but I liked it. You don't often see him in that situation.
And Superman just pushed him away then.
Yeah, and he comes back at him, and of course then
he shoots another grenade at him.
Kryptonite grenade. Weakens him.
Fouls on him again. At this point, about half of Batman's mask is missing.
Yeah.
The iron cowl. You know, Iron Batman.
Yeah.
Do 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 do. Iron Batman. Ooh. Anyway. Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I was watching it.
Yeah. Go on, Sabbath.
I love Sabbath. So, you know, and then he's got the spear and a little more, and he's like, do you bleed? All that. Cuts his face. And he's just about to stick it in, and then...
One thing I liked just before is he gets... he's got Clark, and you think he almost looks as if he's walking away from him, innit? And what he does is he basically, like, hog ties him.
Yeah.
And then swings him through the pillars just for good measure. As if to say, I ain't done with you. I haven't used all my toys yet.
No.
Swings him around, gets him through all the pillars.
I set traps for a reason, and this building ain't coming down, even though the pillars are supporting the building, it's not coming down.
No.
Not until it's a plot point.
So and we're at the point then, like you said, where he gets the spear. Superman
foot on the neck, got the spear, and the Superman's like,
cuts his face first, which is
cuts
sadistic.
His face. What made him bleed?
Yeah,
you know, all that. You give back Superman.
Isn't it funny how Batman can get away with that stuff, whereas if Superman did that,
it'd be a no.
No,
but he gave Superman quite a bit of a pasting. Didn't bleed. Yeah. Gets the kryptonite spear, cuts him.
He's about to stab him.
Then Lois,
and then Superman, comes the most controversial part of the film.
Which I don't get. Why is that controversial? Because they're both named Martha. Well, you got to think back when Superman was written and when Batman was written, that was a popular name.
It was,
and you know, and all that when originally written back in the 30s and all that.
Yeah,
you know, he's got foot on the neck and he's like Martha, and he's like, and Superman's like, Why are you saying that name?
Yeah.
Like, he's going nuts now. Because
Now, what people didn't like was, right, I'll call it what the criticism has been, is that just hearing that name, because he's like, Save Martha. Okay.
Save Martha. But through Batman, all he's thinking is, my mother is dead.
Yeah.
Why are you saying my mother's name?
Yeah, people were like, well, she would have been furious and just stabbed him straight away. I said, well, no, because he's that deeply affected by it, he became a Batman. So if he hears that, he's going to be taken back, as if to say, how do you know my mother's name?
How do you know my mother's name? Why who
are you to bring my mother up?
Yeah. You know, it's like either of us.
Yeah.
You know, our mother dies, we get in a fight, someone says our mother's name, you're just going to stand and go, how do you know?
Yeah, and you're going to have more rage build before you do anything.
And next thing you know, you're going to get angry and angrier.
And upset.
And upset. And all the symptoms are going to come through.
You're going to hesitate.
Yeah. And then, you know, he's going to get ready to stab. He got ready to stab him. And then Lois turns up. Martha's his mother. And all that. And you're thinking... And that's where the cloud went for Batman. The cloud left his eyes.
He saw him as a person.
He saw him as a person now. And then it's like... Martha will not die tonight.
Now, before he was the alien. Now he's a person with a mother. So I get it. I've got to assume that that's what they were going for.
I got it. If that's what they were going for, I got it straight away.
Yeah.
You know, and please tag Zack Snyder in this on Twitter because I think he'll get it. He'll appreciate our basic, everyday man.
Yeah.
You know, sit there for the working man.
So
type.
I mean, we have then. I mean, Superman has gone to Lex, and told him, you know, Bruce has basically said, I'll save Martha, and I'll get to that part in a minute because it's one of my favourite parts of the film. But Superman, meantime,
meantime,
he goes to get Lex, to basically tell him, you know, we should point out as well, because we didn't go into detail about it, is when Lex abducted Martha Kent, he's got his main bodyguard, the guy who was in the desert.
The Russian and that, and also Lois noticed.
Anatoly, I think his name is.
He gets heavily burnt in the comics and has a full bodysuit.
We could see that with these films.
He turns into a Superman bad guy. A bad guy
he's quite an evil-looking dude too. So what they've done though, they've taken to a location where, because I mean, Clark even threatens Lex to tell him what she is, and he says, I don't know. I wouldn't let him tell me. So it's a secret location they've taken. I'm only going to throw this in quickly, okay? Is this a flaw in the whole Superman super hearing thing? Shouldn't he be able to pick out where she is?
He should, but I got a feeling at this point he was too angry.
Because she's gagged too?
Yeah, I think also he's too angry. He's not really focused on her.
Yeah, that's understandable. Yeah,
you know,
and she is gagged, which I don't think I've heard anybody point out.
There was a bit where when he flew off at first, towards the bat signal after he spoke to Lois, and then Lois ran off to Daily Planet to say, "I need a chopper."
So what happens is, and I'll come back to how this happened, but Batman answers when Lex makes the call to get her killed. Bruce answers him because Bruce has already rescued her. Now, the rescue scene.
That's great.
Is my...
I
don't know if it probably is my favourite. I mean, I'm reluctant to say that the Batman-Superman fight isn't, but this is so good, and I'm a Batman fan. And this scene, that basically the Arkham fighting scene is...
Yeah, basically this what I would say, this made Ben Affleck's Batman. Scene. Everything else was like...
I had my doubts over whether he could do some of that stuff.
And this stuff, because he was in the Batsuit, and this is the most we've seen Batman fight.
Yeah, and we saw bits of this in the trailer, which got everyone going, and we talked previously about some of the parts we loved, the big choke slam and that kind of thing.
Yeah, the big choke slam, the bulldog and everything, and loved that.
There's some other stuff he does, like...
and he gets his grappling hook and uses the bar people.
I was just going to say about that, there's one just literally seconds before it where the guy is grappled to the ceiling, like again you can do in the Arkham games. There's a guy coming through the door with a grenade.
Yeah.
And he knocks the guy hanging up into the guy. Knocks him over.
Yeah.
The grenade falls, goes off in the corridor so Bruce doesn't get blown up. The whole sequence, and the thing you said with the box, where he grapples the box, pulls it over and takes him out, that is video game. That is an actual video game. It's fantastic stuff.
A phenomenal way it's done and all.
Yeah, I mean, it is... In terms of fighting, now, if I didn't want to see him have his own Batman films before...
I want to.
That scene alone, if that's what we're going to get, You know, now I don't think Zack Snyder's going to get the Batman films.
But we're gonna get someone close. I got a feeling Ben himself may direct it.
I've heard this.
And
I
if
don't
he
know.
does-
How's that
if
going
he
to go?
does,
Do you think?
I really want to see Court of Owls because that would be totally different to what everyone is expecting.
Yeah.
If they do Court of Owls, movify it.
I
Obviously.
agree with you. I don't think they will.
No, because there's too many family members in
Yeah.
it. The Batman family, you got Robin, which is the son of Batman. and-
Joker's set up as well, isn't he?
And-
Already, he's going to be from Suicide Squad. You
Yeah.
think? Yeah.
But you can bring the Joker into it.
Oh yeah.
You know.
You can insert crazy anywhere, can't you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
going off point, you know, you have that bit where while Batman is going off to get Martha, Superman goes to Lex.
Yeah.
Lex is at this point in what's left of the Genesis chamber, in the old Kryptonian ship.
Yes.
And Superman goes in, and he's like, and then Lex.
As we come back to Superman now.
Yeah, and then Lex does some drivel, says some drivel.
Yeah.
And then Superman goes, "What have you done?"
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you got that. And this is the biggest Superman moment.
Yes.
It's a little moment, but it's the biggest Superman moment. Shows who he is and what he is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
I think I know what you're going to say.
yeah, you get this. Doomsday, when he originally came out in the books,
Yeah.
he killed his maker.
Yeah.
And Doomsday came out of this because Lex is saying, "It's your Doomsday, because God will...
He's created to kill you.
Man will not kill God. Well, I'll let the devil do it." And all that, and then, you know...
Yeah.
Doomsday comes out of his pod,
Yeah.
and
Hatches,
he goes, and
essentially.
he goes straight to kill Lex.
Yeah, and now
And
see, you're the only other person apart from me who I've heard mention that. Nobody mentions the fact that Superman saves Lex. He stops the punch.
Stops the punch, straight up.
Yeah, and when I looked at it, and again, I'm not as versed in Doomsday and Superman as everybody else, but the scene when he goes to punch him and Superman catches the hand and you can see him there with the cape going, I thought, that's a Superman moment.
That was a Superman moment.
That really was, yeah.
To me, I looked at it and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome."
That could have been like off Action Comics. That
Yeah.
was like, it was that
And then-
Superman, yeah.
And this is the bit then where,
Yeah.
you know, the fight obviously goes outside.
Yeah.
And this is where we get to meet the metahumans. The metahumans.
Now,
Where Wonder Woman is going through the files.
she's going through the files.
And then I got a feeling we should start at the Flash. It's the first file and all.
Yeah, we've had a little bit of a dream sequence with him, but this
Yeah.
is actual Flash as a human being in a store on a CCTV.
Buy some milk. Some guy's been to stick up the store. And then you see the...
And then he's not.
And then he's not. And that was it. And that was great. And then I loved the... Then we go to Aquaman.
Yes.
I loved that. It was like... There's a camera there.
I'll mention some of the criticisms in there, but I'm enjoying the good parts first. So
Yeah. There's a bit camera bit here.
Yeah.
And it looked like Aquaman's coming out of the water.
Coming out of the depths.
And
yeah.
it looks like he's curious about the camera.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, he spears and then he swims.
You see him go like ultrasonic underwater.
Ultrasonic underwater, and you see the...
And you know I'm not an Aquaman fan, but that was cool.
They were one better than on Cyborg.
You know, see, Cyborg I know very, very little about.
Cyborg is not a big character. I've only read what he's done in Justice League.
Yeah.
And to be honest, he's not a huge character in Justice League and stuff I've read.
No.
He's always been a background guy, you know, and they're turning him into a pivotal guy. Do you know why? For one thing, the scientist, who is the most unluckiest actor in the world.
I mentioned this earlier.
You did.
His name is, I think it's John Morton. I apologise if I'm getting that wrong.
He brought Cyberdyne.
In Terminator 2, he's Miles Dyson who basically creates Skynet.
Skynet, you know. He kills us all
Yeah.
in that. And he's working with cybernetics again. He was in Eureka and he invented cybernetics in that.
I just want to quickly say as well, okay, I'm sure we'll talk about Terminator Future because they're bound to make another one at some point, right? There's in Terminator 2, spoilers for Terminator 2, when he dies, okay, he is holding a trigger, for an explosive device.
Explosives, yeah.
The way he dies, where he's doing that like hyperventilating, that was really freaky as a kid, and his eyes are wide. You're like, wow, that looks like a horrible way to die. And in this, I'll let you get the big mention in a minute for it. We see parts of Cyborg first behind.
All on the chipboard.
Yeah,
Massive
basically
chipboard,
all in pieces. Yeah, ready for assembly like IKEA.
Yeah.
Yeah. and he's, you know, sort of
the IKEA version of Cyborg.
And he's like memoing on it. Yeah.
The Swedish has got in charge.
Yeah.
I am Helga, and I've created a chipboard
Cyborg sounds Swedish too.
for Cyborg.
Yeah.
Because I'm Helga, and I'm Sweden.
I think that's what they put the
And
female.
I have blonde hair, and I twirl them.
The female fighter Cyborg. I think they actually put it together a little bit too. But then there's another clip later on of it, and what do we see on the table next to him? Next
Mother
to the
box.
fighters, the mother box.
The mother box.
Yeah. All sort of
Created by
crazy.
the old gods.
Yeah, it looks like a tesseract that someone's tried to
Yeah.
put in a box. Yeah.
The motherboards created by the old gods.
Okay.
And I did write some down. Created by the new gods, the old gods. Sorry, I'm getting I'm getting Inquisition in my head because I'm dealing with the old gods now in the Inquisition.
Yeah.
They bring along the blight in the game. They're created by the new gods. It's supercomputer basically can take over anything.
Yeah.
You know, I could get. They've got a whole wiki page for it.
Yeah, and it hovers over
Yeah.
the remains.
The remains of Cyborg, and next thing you know, he comes to life. He's screaming while it's just interacting with his body.
And he's growing.
Yeah,
You know,
and
into
he's
a
getting.
figure.
Well, he's not growing. The box is manipulating.
Yeah,
him
no,
to
that's the
form.
appearance. It looks as if he's, like you say, forming.
The box is forming.
Yeah.
But there's multiple boxes in the universe.
Oh, okay.
In the DC universe, there's multiple boxes.
So we could see that at some point.
There's something like 4 boxes.
Yeah.
You know, and we honourable mention the deleted scene.
Yeah.
That was Zack Snyder released 2 days ago.
Oh,
Something like that. Yeah, which was released online.
We should
which
mention that now because we're at that point.
we're at that point. It's really cool.
Yeah.
And I really think, because that person we see in that is Steppenwolf.
That seems to be
The uncle of
opinion.
the general of Darkseid's army.
Yeah. So they're setting up
the,
again.
The uncle of Darkseid.
Yeah.
Which is another setup. It's a throw, well, back in the sense of the film time.
Yeah.
To the dream nightmare sequence where Darkseid's parademons and everything are in. So yeah.
Absolutely. So
But he's got 2 mother boxes in that. Have you noticed? One in each hand.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, one in each hand.
Oh, okay.
So where's the other one?
But we obviously this has all been seen by Wonder Woman on her computer.
Yeah, on her computer.
And
yeah.
she's then later about to.
And then she gets up and goes.
She's going on a flight. She's leaving.
Yeah, she was about to leave. She got a photo.
Yeah.
She didn't need to stay there. She already gave up on humanity after World War One.
So she's just going to disappear. She knows people know about her. So I assume she wants to disappear.
Yeah, she wants to go now. But and then she sees on the news report as well on TVs of
on the airplane.
On the airplane, she's like, shit.
She sees Doomsday.
Yeah, she's got to go.
Yeah.
And she goes.
You see her walking away from the plane. They're calling her back.
Yeah.
And then you don't see her for a little while. We'll talk about.
And then she turns up
when she comes back.
Oh,
yes.
I like that. I like that scene. See, we're going back into the battle.
Yeah.
Where Superman's having to go. Doomsday takes him up into space.
Now this is.
Well, they're having to go first, and you get the generals talking to the president in the was now Death of Superman, which will come relevant later.
There's quite a Dark Knight Returns moment coming up as well. Yeah.
That one thing. Yeah. But in the Death of Superman, Clinton was newly elected, and he gave a speech.
Okay.
And they tried to have Clinton as the voice of the president who gave the permission, but in the Dark Knight Returns, where this scene is coming from now in a bit, is where the nuke warheads is from. What's his name in it? What's the 80s president?
Reagan.
No, is it
Reagan? Is the one in Dark Knight Returns.
Yes, it is Reagan. Yeah. So I'm not American, so I can't remember my president.
I can't even remember if they name him, but he's clearly wrong.
Yeah, well, yeah,
you
the
can
voice
see it.
and everything.
The voice, the appearance,
yeah, exactly. And even when they cartooned it, it was they made the voice.
Yeah, very much so.
The same. And they basically
they fire a nuke.
They're gonna fire nukes
once Superman and Doomsday are out of off the planet.
Yeah, basically.
And you can see a couple of people when they said they're going to do it who regret it, and they're talking about no casualties, and someone says 1 casualty. Superman.
One hasn't returned.
Yeah.
And then,
but just before, because they say no casualties, but then somebody says, well, there is one. Superman. Yeah. They're calling him a person, as the other people aren't.
We're jumping ahead, though, because we have that little bit of battle in Wonder Woman scene before that, though, don't we?
And I think doesn't that come when... Because he's stuck in space then, isn't he? That's how he comes down, and then he's about to get Batman, and then...
Oh shit! Yeah. Because
it's
Batman's
confusing.
Batman's on his plane.
Yeah.
The Batwing. Got to call it Batwing.
Yeah.
And he's doing that, and the Batwing comes down.
So you see Superman and Doomsday. Superman flies him into space. They fire the nuclear weapon at Superman and Doomsday.
Straight out of Dark Knight Returns, I suppose.
Yeah, because then, once it hits
the
them,
radiation just dilapidates Superman.
Doomsday crashes to Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah?
And you notice, the big expansion of, like, destroying things.
Yeah.
That's when he's changing. When he's coming back to life.
It's like fighting a boss and you batter them and then they repower and then you gotta go again.
Basically what it was. It's a massive video game, and if this was a video game, well, we probably couldn't play it because it'd be too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, and he pulls off the back of his skin, and that's when you see the bone grow.
Which people had problems with his appearance, but he changes appearance.
He changes appearance, not completely, like the face is still the same and all that, but there's more, and I've got a feeling we're gonna have more Doomsday.
Yeah, why?
Because I think it's Apocalypse. After in Death of Superman, the books tosses Doomsday into space, but before he tosses Doomsday into space, he puts his mind into Doomsday.
Oh.
And when he dies in the books, he becomes Doomsday.
Okay.
But we're not going to get that.
No, I mean, and at this point now, Superman is still in space. He's floating, and they do a thing which is directly pulled from the Dark Knight,
where he's just totally dilapidated from radiation.
He looks like he's rotting.
Yeah, basically, his skin is drawn and everything.
Like a dead heroin addict, basically.
Basically, and I love that when the sun comes up, he just...
Now, the only difference in the comic and the animated version of it is that it's much more dramatic-y, less reality, in the sense that he even touches the ground, doesn't he? And that rots and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They can't do that.
They can't do that. One, he's not on Earth because Doomsday fell to Earth, and Superman is still stuck in...
And like you, I loved it then when...
Yeah.
And we'll come back to it in a second. I love how he comes back. But on the planet, Bats now knows that Superman is not there.
No.
It's down to him. He wants to draw Doomsday to him, doesn't he?
Yeah, he wants to. So he's using He's using the Batwing.
The Batwing.
He's flying around him and everything, and then Doomsday hits it. Bang.
And there's a scene then where Batman lands. Doomsday lands right behind him. Bats looks, says oh shit,
because Doomsday opens his mouth and eyes, and just about singing. That's when Wonder
Batman
Woman
sort of covers as if to say, here it comes, and then Wonder Woman
turns up. Bow.
Shield first.
Yeah, shield first. Yeah.
Then it's the bracelets together, which is amazing. That to me, that's Wonder Woman.
That's Wonder Woman, and she used the bracelets in the series.
Yeah.
Back in the 70s, 80s.
Did you notice the music that comes in when she comes in?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
I do.
Yeah, because I've heard people complain about that. I liked it.
Why? I thought it's just right. She's got her own theme.
Yeah, and she's from the early 20th century. That's quite.
You've got to have an older timey theme.
And she gives Doomsday a bit of a wake up call.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
yeah.
You notice the sword was cutting him and all.
Yes.
I noticed that.
And then we see that Superman, the part you just called, where the sun is coming over the horizon in space, and Superman starts to regenerate because the Earth's sun. We know what that does to him. Yeah. So he's recovering. He manages to come back in time.
Yeah. And then him and Wonder Woman are giving him a go.
Yeah.
But before that, we get another Dark Knight-y Super Batman thing, where shooting his fire, because it's more fire at this point, at Batman. Batman fucking propelling him out of the way, and I love that bit where he's on the wall thing, and then you just see the lightning in the background, and he just propels away.
Sorry
just
to jump
like
back.
The cover.
One part with fire I didn't mention. When Bruce, we talked about how great that rescue was of Martha.
Yeah.
When he rescues her, the guy's about to flamethrower, he puts the cape over.
Yeah.
That's quite cool. And then the
I'm a friend of your son.
The cool line, I'm a friend of your son's. I figured. The cape. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I liked
that was cool.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Little bit of fun. Because people criticised it.
Everyone said it was just dreary. Yeah, it was. But
it's dark.
But the dark... Do you know what Dark Night means? It's darkest before the dawn.
Yeah.
So we're going to have lighter times later on.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Shazam is going to be a lot lighter film.
Yeah, I would have thought so, yeah.
Captain Marvel, which ain't Captain Marvel anymore because Captain...
Yeah, and Marvel doing Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
I know they've both got Captain Marvel.
DC's Captain Marvel's a man, and Captain Marvel in Marvel is...
That's an old argument, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
they both...
but now we're basically in full-on fight mode now, aren't we? So you've got, it's, the whole Wonder Woman's ready to go, Batman and Superman look at each other. She with you? I thought she was with you.
Yeah.
Which we've seen from the trailer anyway.
Which was good. I liked that moment. Everyone's like,
no.
Shouldn't be. No, I thought that was a good moment.
I'm amazed if anyone went into this film not thinking that Batman and Superman were going to be friends at the end. Really? Did they not
Honestly, we've got history of the JLS.
Well, it's like, we're going to see, I'm only going to mention this briefly, we're going to see Iron Man versus Cap at the end of April, yeah? Now, they may not be best buddies after it, but does anybody honestly think that the Avengers are not going to get back together at some point?
Well, they have to, Infinity Wars.
Yes.
And we
know this.
And we've been told about Justice League.
Yeah. So we know it's coming.
So... Yeah. We're getting Justice League, and we know it's coming. They are going to be talking, and well, they were talking at the end of it anyway.
Yeah, and I really love here the Wonder Woman promo video. That was basically what it is, where she's fighting Doomsday. She's slicing with a sword.
Yeah,
she's using the shield.
The rope of truth.
That comes in. Just as they're about to finish him off.
Holding him down.
That part when she had the lasso of truth, I was like, whoa, that's cool.
You got all that, and she's like, and then
Bats fires the kryptonite.
Kryptonite in his face. The last round.
Yeah.
So you only had 3 of them bad boys.
At this point, we've established that they need the spear to finish it off.
Yeah. Because Batman,
kryptonite spear that
Batman already established that to Alfred.
Yeah.
Because he's a Kryptonian. While he's flying around, I'm going to draw him out. He's doing all that, and then they establish it. Then. Now
Lois is still at this building, isn't she? Trying to find the
Lois. Well, at this point, Lois looks, and then she works it out herself. They need that spear. Yeah. She dives in.
This is after she's thrown it in the water, thinking it's hurting Clark, so she throws it away.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that, as soon as she threw it away, I was like, they're going to need that.
Did you think Aquaman was going to pop up with it?
I was hoping.
I heard it.
Because it was water. I was really hoping Aquaman just bring it out like Excalibur.
I'm not even clear what water it was. It's water in a building which looks like flooded, but it isn't. I'm not.
I was expecting Aquaman to turn up, pull it out of the water like Excalibur.
Yeah.
Lady in the lake. Bring it up, and you just take it, bang, stabby, stabby. Turns out to be a bit more dramatic.
There's an Excalibur reference too. Did you get it? I've seen it 3 times, so I've had more opportunity. But at the beginning of the film, when they're doing the Wayne family getting killed on the way home from the movie theatre, the film shows Excalibur.
Excalibur in the background, yeah.
I don't think that's an accident.
Even though it's meant to be Mask of Zorro.
Yeah, it was, yeah. But it's not an accident, that. I don't think. You start to pick up when he sings when you watch the film.
Yeah.
Sorry?
But yeah, so Lois dives in.
She dives in to get the spear.
She realised the mistake was quite dire. She dives in, and then we get a bit more eruptions because Doomsday has another was now change.
Yeah, and also the roof of the building that Lois is in falls in. So she jumps in the water to avoid it.
And she's trapped.
She can't get out. There's only a small gap.
Luckily for her, at this point, Superman's recovered and just coming back in.
Yes.
He's on re-entry when
he's actually started to fight Doomsday, hasn't he?
Yeah, when he hears the banging, so he goes straight to it.
Did you find that hard to believe?
No.
You didn't have a problem with it? Because I think what some people question sometimes is the
stuff
he hears and the stuff he doesn't.
No, he's got a choice. See, and they explain that in Man of Steel, because his mother helped him there, shut off the world,
Make the world smaller.
Yeah, and he did. And the thing is, he's concentrating on certain people.
Yeah. When he first went in to get Lois out of the water, he gets her out. To begin with, she's not breathing. There was a split second where I thought, oh, Superman 1. The old Superman, where Lois dies.
Yeah,
and I was like, please don't turn back time to save her.
No.
Please don't do that.
You're not the Flash.
But I did think, maybe because of that, do they kill Lois? Just for a split second.
Well,
because she comes around.
And also, I thought that in the sense because of what the Flash said in the flashback.
I got the same feeling as when Gwen, Amazing Spider-Man 2 spoiler, when Gwen Stacy when she fell and he caught her, but
Yeah,
he doesn't, and her head hits the ground, and I heard the bump, and you're like, oh no, don't be dead, you know. It got me that, and this for a second I thought Lois was going to die.
You're one of the rare ones that enjoyed Amazing Spider-Man 2, didn't you?
Well, yeah, I like Emma Stone, and I think Andrew Garfield is much better than people think. It's not a perfect film.
I thought it was good. I liked the Amazing Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man 2 became Spider-Man 3 for me. Too much.
Oh yeah, it's not a classic film.
No.
But that part at the end destroyed me. So
yeah, but basically banging. He goes there, pulls her out. They have a little chit chat.
Yeah.
He goes, I've got to.
Yeah.
You know, this is my home too type thing, and you know, the very nice stuff goes in, and you can tell he pulls it out. She pulls him out of the wall because he's fucked. And then you saw him when he started flying. He was like, he's dipping. He's like, oh, fuck, I can't keep this up.
Well, yeah, I was going to say. I mean, at this point, just before he realised, he basically tells Lois that she's his world, and he's almost calling out, "Look, I'm about to
die,
kill myself, killing this guy." Yeah, and she's telling him not to do it. She knows what he's going to do. The only after she came around first, again for a few seconds, I thought, okay, no one dies. The only thing that made me think someone could still die was I've been informed in the past that in the comics, Doomsday kills Superman. Okay, so in my head I'm thinking, he does, of course. I'm in my head I'm thinking, at the beginning of the film, Doomsday kills Superman. Are we going to see that? And then, but the way the film went, and then with the little tease with Lois, it threw me off the scent a little. Then,
I didn't think that until the end. And once we had the fight with Doomsday, I know Wonder Woman wasn't involved and Batman wasn't involved in the fight with Doomsday. Cause it started off from Ohio, all the way to Metropolis. That was a massive fight. They didn't have it as big in this, but you couldn't have it as big in this because if Zack Snyder had done it as big as that fight. We're still watching that film now. Yeah, I mean, nice little touch as well was you just mentioned about when Superman grabs the spear to kill Doomsday and he goes to fly and he's kind of dipping because it's weakening him. I like it's a nice touch. I thought it was a good touch. It's no Superman Returns touch where he's got kryptonite in him and he's still living up and all that.
Yeah. But we shouldn't judge Superman Returns though.
No. that Bryan Singer tried to do Donna and he failed epically.
Yeah. I'm okay with his X-Men, but that's
he sticks with X-Men. We're happy.
Yeah,
but
he's having a break, by the way. But we'll get that on another podcast. He's having a break.
All right, cool. But he's flying, he's dipping, and you can tell he's struggling. He's really pushing himself to fly. Yeah, because he's got the anti-gravity,
and he has to build up enough speed to get into him too.
Yeah, and he does. He don't get fully into him at first. Gets into him a bit, and at this point where Superman's gone towards. He's got lasso truth wrapped around him. Batman's just standing up like, I don't know what to do here. I've already shot him in the face.
Yeah. Well, Batman's the only person there without any powers, isn't he? Apart from his brain, obviously. But
that's why we love Batman.
Yes, absolutely.
He can take you all out, and he proved it in this film.
I could be Batman.
Yeah.
So
and we ain't got the money for that.
No.
But I've seen how to make a suit.
So when he plunges the spear into him, and he's killing him. What happens is, of course, Doomsday. Then his claws have come out.
One of his bone
claws sound like Wolverine, and he
straight in the chest.
Straight in the chest.
Not in the heart, but in the chest.
Yeah, straight through the S.
Well,
straight through the hope.
Yeah, through hope.
Yeah.
Spear straight through hope. Well, that's a metaphor there alone.
So we know now. Obviously, it's like now when that happened, I'm like, they're killing him. That's it.
They're killing him. That's why. As soon as I saw that, I was like, and then the camera draws back, and you see it through the cape as well. And I just went, we're having a funeral at the end of this.
Yeah.
And even though I was like, fuck, that's quite big. Yeah. That is bold. That is really bold.
I was going to say ballsy. It's the same thing.
Yeah, bold and ballsy.
Yeah, bold and ballsy. I mean, and also, again, I know this is not us, but if you taking kids to that film,
it's a bit rough. They're not going to understand it.
It's rough.
Yeah, but the kids are not going to understand it.
I'm
taking my nephews on Saturday. I mean, I'm taking them because they are banging on, and Uncle Wayne really.
Look how excited we were, and we're grown-ups now.
And Uncle Wayne wants to see it again.
Yeah.
So, I'm taking them Saturday, and we're doing it in 3D.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, we've got technically he's doing the death of Superman here.
Yeah.
And no, this is where we're winding the podcast now because simple reason the film winds now.
Yeah. Well, we've got the
they fall.
There's two funerals.
Yeah.
Okay. Now
you've got the state funeral and you've got the Clark Kent funeral.
Yeah, and we see a couple of newspaper headlines. There's the big front page of a Superman, and then there's a little thing on the inside of the newspaper, one of our own Clark Kent.
Yeah, our very own.
So,
Clark
I only
Kent.
have one issue with this.
Everyone knows Clark Kent is Superman. That's what I said.
Yeah.
And
but in this, they don't. So, how do they get Clark's body to his home on the farm when the government would want that body? And they do. The government do a big sort of soldier's funeral for him.
Yeah. Do you know how I say that? You got Wonder Woman and Batman there. That explains itself.
Yeah.
And I said to the missus after the film, I went, I'm so happy that Martha got the body, not the state.
Yes. That's just the thing. When they were having the two funerals, first of all, the way that it was cut, I thought it was a funeral that was rolling from where they live. You know, because you mentioned about the fight.
Yeah.
From where they live. Ohio?
No, it's...
where do they live?
Kansas. Small
Kansas, thank you, Kansas. So I thought this is a long procession from Kansas to Metropolis, you know, and beyond.
Then everyone would literally know Clark Kent is Superman.
Yeah, and he would be Messiah, and the Messiah is dead.
Yeah.
You know. But anyway, it was a small thing, and I explained it to myself the same way you just did in my head, as Batman and Wonder Woman are getting that body out. No fear.
Yeah, they're getting it out. You know, and
people will start asking where's Superman's body.
Critics, are like even YouTubers who claim they're fans, were like complaining about that.
Yeah, just think it through.
Just think about it. You know,
if you're that into it that stuff bothers you, then it's within your capacity to understand. There are ways they can do that.
But people are looking at films like this to criticize.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know,
it gets more hits.
Yeah, exactly. and we're not after the hits. We're after we're truth, justice, and Superman's way. You know, and we're not saying American way. We're not Americans, and we don't want to be. But
we're the podcast they need right now.
Yeah, we're the podcast they deserve.
But yeah, I mean, so you got those funeral scenes now.
I liked it.
There's a little shot of Perry, right, at the paper. Okay, now we mentioned Perry earlier,
and he's going in, and he's getting the
Before we wrap it, I didn't like some of the lines he was given. I thought he was made to look a bit thick at times. He was made to look a bit J. Jonah, I thought.
Yeah, he was made to look a bit harsher. In the first film, he wasn't as harsh.
No.
In this film, he was, especially with the coach.
The only understanding moment is when he lets Lois take a helicopter.
Yeah.
That's it, really. You know, you don't really see much more friendliness from him.
I like the bit where no one buys papers anymore, Clark.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. Yeah. You know.
It's not 1938, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, the year Superman was created.
Yeah. Oh, good call, yeah.
So it was.
But I wasn't... I like Lawrence Fishburne, and he did the best what he was given. I just don't think he was particularly well written for it.
Well, to be honest, it's a big film, and he's such a small role in this type of film. If it was a Superman alone film, he'd have a bigger part. But it's in past Superman films, the editors had such a small role.
Yeah. Except
for Superman 4: Quest for Peace, where he had a big role because he was trying to get control of his paper again, and where
that film is bad.
Yeah, I know.
But we move past it now anyway. But yeah, there's a little scene then at the Kansas funeral where Bruce is talking to
Wonder Woman about
getting the band together.
Getting the band together, basically, you know.
Yeah.
Because they all think Superman's dead, but Superman's just heart is slowed down and he's repairing.
Yeah.
And they proved that with the dum.
Yeah, and
wait a bit.
Just before it as well.
And in the mud.
We only missed one tiny part. What? Is Lex has been arrested. Lex had his head shaved.
Oh, we're coming to that. That was after the dumb.
Was it?
Yeah. Excuse me, that was after the dumb. I love that bit.
Before the dirt, though, wasn't it? Because that's the last shot.
That was before the dirt. Yeah. But it was after the dumb. Where we're missing two bits actually. The state funeral.
It's a lot to take it.
They uncovered. They showed the coffin.
Yeah.
With the Superman symbol, and it's a black coffin.
Yeah.
But it's a Christopher Reeves logo. It's a Christopher Reeves logo.
Yeah.
And I was like, we're getting a new suit.
Yeah. Seems that way.
I'm not hoping we get the black suit. Do you know why? Because it's no cape.
And is he not dark enough already?
Superman needs cape. But I got a feeling they're gonna give him a new suit, and it's gonna be very reminiscent of Reeves' suit, but without the pants.
Yeah.
And
so I mean, also there's the scene that we just mentioned with Lex, where he has his head shaved in prison.
Yes, and that bit where the lights go out,
Batman's
and you see in the background, and do you know what? That is my vision of Batman right there. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's kind of like in the Dark Knight, you know,
Yeah.
he goes into Joker's interrogation room and he just kind of appears, doesn't he?
Yeah, but honestly, if we look back at it now, I love Nolan's Batman.
Yeah.
But compared Nolan Batman to Snyder's Batman,
Yeah.
Nolan's the weedy nerd that you don't want to talk to.
No, I do still think
Snyder,
they're better films, but we'll get
and
that.
Snyder's the prop forward.
Yeah.
You know, it's basically that's what it is.
Yeah.
You got the weedy nerd and you got the prop forward.
Yeah.
Rugby terms here.
Yeah.
We're not American. We got the prop forward here.
Yeah.
You know, and he will he will mess stuff up.
Yeah.
The prop forward. The weedy one, he'll kick your ass and he'll do some fancy moves that we won't see on camera because it's too close.
Yeah.
And this one, as we saw, and he had the branding iron out. Did you notice that?
He had the branding eye, and he's got
Yeah.
it held up to Lex, and he ends up punching the
the
wall.
wall.
Because Lex basically calls out the Darkseid's coming.
Basically, it's like they're coming.
Yeah.
You know, and
A bell has been rung.
the bell has been rung.
Yeah.
And I think I tagged you in a few bell rung pictures recently.
Yeah.
Because we are all over this stuff.
But the very last part of we've just to mention that because we had to put that in, is that the last part, we see the coffin in Kansas, and the dirt on the canvas is low, it's thrown in, because that's what the first.
Yeah,
dirt.
and then you see it rise.
It starts rising, and then it ends. So we know that Superman is going to be back.
Because it rises, brother.
Yeah. We know he's going to be back from that. Obviously.
Yeah, well, obviously, yeah. He came back after in the series.
So I'll ask you now randomly, okay? We haven't talked about it. When's he come back?
Well, if we're gonna follow the comics, we've got to have 4 more Supermen yet. We've got Superboy, which is a clone.
Yeah, we're not getting that.
No, we're not getting all them, but that's how they come back.
Yeah.
I got a feeling they're not gonna. He's gonna come back halfway through Justice League Part 1.
I have that suspicion.
Halfway through.
Yeah.
And or they're gonna end with Superman coming out of that grave.
Yeah. And I'm coming out of this. I'm really looking forward to the Wonder Woman film now. Really think that could be. It's a different director.
Yeah, it's a female director.
So there shouldn't be any Snyder hit, hopefully.
No, well, I'm very happy with what Snyder's done.
Yeah.
There's a petition online.
I think it's
take
fair to
Snyder
say.
off Justice League, and I'd say no.
I think it's fair to say then, as we wrapping up on it soon, coming out of it. So we know Superman's dead. People still have their issues with it. I'm looking forward to him coming back and what we see out of him next time now. Yeah. Batman, in my opinion, I think Michael Keaton is my Batman, but I think that once we've had a couple of
Batman,
once we've had a couple of these films, if they work out the way we're hoping, that could then be our Batman.
Ben Affleck has done well. It's more Zack Snyder, but Ben Affleck is a massive Batman fan as well.
Yes.
We're getting the comic book Batman here.
Yeah.
We're getting
finally.
Yeah, finally, yeah. We're getting the fear Batman. They touched upon it in Batman Begins.
Yeah.
The fear side of it. Mm-hmm. You've got to be scared of Batman. Yeah. And they touched upon it in Dark Knight, where it's like you got the drugged in. Oh no, not tonight, bro. Not tonight. When they saw the symbol in the sky and all that.
Yeah.
You know, and they were saying, oh, it's 1 in a million, he'll turn up and all that. You know, but this one, we've got the fear Batman, the Batman that you're scared of.
And we'll have more idea what's happening in those Batman movies when we've seen Suicide Squad. Yeah. Which he's going to be in, however briefly he's going to be in.
That's another question.
Yeah.
Last podcast when we done a preview where we know, when I was saying like Batman survives and we know it's all going to calm down after.
Yeah.
It literally is going to calm down after. And Batman is now in Suicide Squad.
Yes.
You know, there's no chance of Superman being in Suicide Squad now.
No, and we know that with Suicide Squad, that's basically setting up our team of bad guys to go against the team of good guys we're now establishing, which is why they've rushed them all onto screen. Now, if there's, I'm going to say the criticism that I got of it, but it's not going to take away from the fact that it's pretty clear that I like this film. Okay, so I really do like it. I just thought, if we're being picky, there was a lot of setup. The fact that when we've been doing this and we're big fans, and I've seen this 3 times now, and I'm still going, oh, hang on, we've lost this bit, we've got to go back. Yeah. That tells you they've rammed a lot in. They've
rammed a hell of a lot in.
And if you're not educated to this stuff, it's a lot to follow.
Fortunately for us, we are.
Yeah, but even so.
On Batman terms, you are.
Yeah.
I'm really
Batman. I
really sad, and I've read a lot of Batman, Superman.
Yeah.
Not so much Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman. Well, Aquaman in my eyes has always been a pussy.
I've probably seen more Wonder Woman than the others.
Yeah, well, from TV series.
Yeah.
Alone, I've watched all of it. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Linda Carter.
For some reason,
what a beautiful.
I always go to call her Linda Blair, which is the girl from The Exorcist. Yeah, that would be terrible. Yeah, it's not the kind of Wonder Woman you're looking for. But yeah, I mean, I think that Wonder Woman film, if they get that right now, that's really kicking things off as well. You know, it's going to get better from there. Suicide Squad, I really expect to be great. So
yeah, it's all up.
Yeah,
it's looking up.
It's all up. It's all up. We're going to have a break from Superman now, so people can get over the bits they don't like, that they're just not going to like.
Well, yeah, yeah. You know,
no Lois for a bit, because she seems to be getting
tied up with Superman. You know, and
she's getting some hate, isn't she? The character is getting some hate.
Yeah, but right now we're going to have Lois. They're not. First part of Justice League, they're not going to concentrate on the Superman side of things. So Lois ain't going to have a look in.
No, they want a bit of an impact when he comes in.
Yeah, and obviously he's going to go to his mama. He loves his mama.
No end of credits scene as well. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I stayed all the way.
Me too, of course.
Yeah,
of course you do.
I like to appreciate whoever made it. Actually, I waited for the fucking credits.
But Zack Snyder apparently said that if it's a good enough film, you don't need an end of credits.
No, exactly. Yeah, he's been on record saying that.
Marvel have trained us, haven't they?
Marvel have, yeah.
They've conditioned us to after
Marvel
credits.
Marvel made us think we need an end of credits.
And they do it so well, Marvel, that it's, you know... They've kind of, this film, another reason it's possibly crammed, they're kind of playing catch up now. In the film terms.
We are, yeah. We are. DC are playing massive catch up. Yeah, well, 2012.
Yeah.
Avengers was out.
Yeah. I mean, these are not things that I like to get the natural reaction to these, so we don't tend to, like...
I'm not mixing them up.
Okay, is this... So in terms of Batman films, or Superman films... I don't know if we can fairly...
We can't, no, because there's been separate Superman films that everything after even half of 2 is awful.
Yeah.
And dated.
Yeah.
And even the Bryan Singer film it's dated because he was following a model from the 70s. Yeah. With Batman films, we've got a masterpiece in The Dark Knight.
Yeah. One of the best films, full stop.
Yeah,
ever.
You cannot... We're in a new world right now.
Yes.
We can't...
It's not fair to judge because
we can't
firstly
judge,
we haven't seen a Batman film on his own.
On his own yet. And we've got Man of Steel, which I personally love. That film.
Me too.
And we can't judge upon it. Yeah. This is a very good sequel to that film.
And that's, even though they've backed off from calling it that now.
Yeah.
For me, it's still the Superman
film. It's still a
sequel
because they started off with that Metropolis battle.
Yes.
My overall this film, I'm going to give it 8 out of 10 because simple reason is, there was bad points where he crammed so much in, but I'm still positive about him.
I'm somewhere between a 7 and an 8.
Yeah.
Okay, only because...
7.5.
Yeah.
Say that.
Only because it's crammed a little.
Yeah, it's crammed. That's why I'm giving it an 8.
But if you show me Batman kicking ass like he does in the video games, if you show me Superman fighting Doomsday and sacrificing himself for everybody.
The lasso of truth.
The lasso of truth. I mean, that part.
Yeah.
Oh,
she's holding him down.
I'm getting goosebumps now.
I'm thinking about it now myself. Yeah. And she's holding him in place for Superman just to plunge that spear in.
I watched this film with 3 different people, okay?
Yeah.
One of them's my daughter who knows this stuff.
Yeah.
But Wonder Woman is before her time.
It is, yeah.
So when Wonder Woman's got the lasso, I'm just like, that's Wonder Woman. Tapping on the shoulder, that's Wonder Woman. Yeah, you know, and that's what you want.
The missus who watched the film,
yeah,
with me, obviously, I take her everywhere.
Yeah,
a little pet.
She's
tiny. that scene where Superman was walking up the corridor to go into court.
Yeah.
His boots looked like 2 W's.
Yeah.
In the thing. She called that.
Wow.
She straight in. I was like, she's like, that's Wonder Woman. That is Wonder Woman's symbol.
I saw it with a friend at midnight. Okay, when it was released.
Yeah.
Who is into the stuff, but not. You know, he doesn't go overboard with it.
No,
it's a good film. He like it.
He's very plain when it comes to.
When I start going in depth, then he'll get glassy eyed.
Yeah.
But you know, he'll ask me certain questions because he knows that. So he liked it. Yeah. I took my daughter. She'd just seen Deadpool for the first time before it.
Yeah, and you took a friend as well.
Yeah,
and
then I took another young lady. Let's say on the Saturday evening. Now the part where Superman dies, she had tears. There were other people in the cinema who had tears. So these are people necessarily who were not immersed, but still thought that's quite
it was a big moment.
So it can't have been that badly done, really.
See, when it was done, I went, oh my god, they're doing that.
Yeah.
Because I've read.
Yeah.
Because I'm well read. I went, oh my god, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
My missus is not an emotional girl.
No.
She cries at chick flicks and that's it.
Yeah.
I still don't understand a woman that doesn't cry at Saving Private Ryan because I still cry at that. And
The Champ, that's mine.
Oh, The Champ.
Oh,
go get him, Champ. And the son is like, go get him. And
nobody's ever seen The Champ. I'm not going to spoil it now. It's from the 80s, I think, or 70s.
70s.
Go watch it.
Don't do this to me. I love The Champ.
Yeah, go watch it.
That's why I won't mention it, because I didn't want to tear up.
Yeah.
And you're doing it to me.
I'll make you laugh, though, if you want. The only other thing that made me cry as a child. My Girl. With Macaulay Culkin. I don't care about spoilers. Macaulay Culkin dies and she goes to the thing and he hasn't got his glass. Oh my god.
He died from bee sting.
Like I was about 9, okay, so I'm gonna give myself a pass.
Yeah, you're showing your age now.
Yeah. Yeah. So I give it like a 7.5 out of 10. I don't think it's fair to rank it against any Batman films, Superman films.
No, we're not gonna rank it. Well, Man of Steel for me was 8 out of 10.
It was action porn all the way through. I don't do figures a lot, but what, $500 million in the first weekend, almost.
Pretty much, yeah. Was 484.
Wow.
And it did break the record with massive drop off on the Sunday from the Friday.
It did.
Saturday.
I heard it's picked back up on the Monday though. I don't understand how all this works, but
Monday apparently made another 50 odd million.
So it did okay.
It's gonna beat Man of Steel, which is good. It's gonna make enough money for DC for Warner's and DC to continue Justice League.
My final question on it for you then.
Got it.
I've got to ask a God question. So it was released on Easter weekend.
Yeah.
And Superman dies and appears to be coming back to life.
3 days later, obviously.
This can't all be accidents. They have so many references.
Well, no, because Justice League is coming out November next year, so
yeah.
You know, well.
Yeah. Let's do it. So we're excited. We like the film. Yeah. We know there's issues with it, but this is enough going forward to say, yes, give me some more.
And I'm looking forward to DC Universe now.
Yes.
Very much more now. And this film, I've been excited about it, and I'm still excited about what we got coming.
Absolutely. So if anyone wants to disagree, and if anyone listens, they probably will with some parts.
Put it in the comments.
Yes. Either put it in the comments, email us, podcastofstuff009@gmail.com, or follow us at podcastofstuff. Twitter followers have gone up a little.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Playing the Twitter game a little
bit.
Good
man. I've noticed. I'm not so good at the Twitter game. I know you are. Yeah. So I let you play with that.
It's irrelevant. Click in, and that's my strength. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I have to read everything I click on. Even if it's cookies, I'm still reading the little terms and conditions of that. I don't know why.
Yeah, but please, if anyone disagrees and they hear this, then get in touch and we'll talk about it on the next podcast.
And questions.
Any questions?
Questions. We like.
Or anything we missed?
We like, missed and questions. Do you know why? Because we like irrelevant questions and we like things we missed.
Yes, and we obviously now have to do a WrestleMania podcast too. But that will come next.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, so we'll wrap that there, yeah?
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. Bye now.
Bye.